Hi, hello. Thank God I got that under 5 minutes. Let me just say I've had a rough couple of days. Work has been hell, and if you saw the title of the stream, then you know exactly what I'm going to be talking about today. I don't even have my light right, you know what? Okay, anyway, let me see. I need to get to where I can see. Today. I don't even have. Stop. Shut up. So yeah, after I got off of work today, I was running around like a chicken with my head cut off. As soon as I got in the door, I had to get to work. Because there's a potluck at work tomorrow. I know it. I know. But for Thanksgiving, we decided to do a potluck instead of like, a, well, we usually do it for like birthdays every month. So this is for Thanksgiving and also for November birthdays. So yeah, I'm going to be talking a lot about what I do for work today, and it's something you don't really like, to me anyway. You don't hear about it that much because being in a clinical lab means you're kind of behind the scenes. So um, I just want to tell everybody, what it's all about and how I got my job and um, what my job was like when it first started versus like how it's going now. So, but I'm going to be playing a few games today. I have a couple picked out, 2 or 3, from Newgrounds because Newgrounds has honestly been like my go-to lately, and I know, like, I say I try to stream every day. Sometimes I just can't. Sometimes I don't have, like, the motivation to. But I'm going to try my best to stream on days that I feel like streaming on. So, anyway, my name is Sadie. If you're in chat, say hi, but we're getting ready to game. And of course, I need to check in and make sure everything looks good on my end before I start playing. So I have 3 games: Next Door, The Last Dog, and Until There Was Nothing. These are all games found on Newgrounds. They're free. They each have like either everyone or teen ratings, but whatever, we don't care. So let's get into the game, then I'll start talking. This is a short cinematic pixel horror game based on Junji Ito's manga. The following is a non-profit in tribute of Junji Ito's Mimi's ghost stories, okay? Oh, I've seen this game before. Oh, shit. Okay, I don't know if there's sound yet, but you know what, we'll figure it out. Okay. Oh, come on. I can't study with this noise all the time. I should give the guy upstairs a piece of my mind. There is no sound. There is no sound, please click on the screen. Well, I clicked on the screen, but you know what? It's fine. I can talk over this. Okay, so I spoke about this in one of my first couple of streams. I'm a clinical lab scientist, which means that I work in a lab that tests patient samples. And I don't work in a hospital, but I work in another building that tests samples from different facilities. I test samples that come from senior nursing facilities, Department of Corrections, sometimes Boeing. I live in Charleston, so we have a Boeing plant in Charleston, and we test samples from there sometimes. We used to get stuff from Roper St. Francis Hospital, but we don't anymore. They decided to do their own in-house testing. So I got this job in December 2020, and of course everybody knows 2020 was the worst year in ever. The COVID-19 pandemic started late 2019. That's why it's called COVID-19, not COVID-20, because it started in 2019 in China. And nobody in the United States was really aware of what was happening in January 2020. Like, everything was normal for the first 3 months of the year. Then it was March, and it was a Friday the 13th was when like all hell broke loose. Like, lockdown started on a Friday the 13th in March. And I was still in college then. I graduated in May. And of course it was a virtual graduation, which is a totally different topic, but anyway. I graduated in May, and I was done with college. And I felt so cheated out of my college career. Like, my last year, my senior year, was supposed to be my best year, but it didn't end up being that way, unfortunately. And I still like kind of hold a grudge against like what my college did to handle the pandemic starting in 2020, because class of 2020, we get to graduate too, you know. But to, again, a different topic for a different day. But after I graduated college, I didn't get a job immediately in my field, and I have two bachelor's degrees. I have a bachelor's of science in biology and a bachelor of arts in German studies. I was one of only 5 double majors in my graduating class, and um, I applied for jobs uh, everywhere in the state of South Carolina. MUSC's down here in Charleston. I applied. I even applied to places in North Carolina. I applied to Duke University as a research associate and a clinical scientist there. But it's hard to find a biology job or a job relating to biology with just a bachelor's degree. Usually you need some kind of certification. Most of the time you need to have an ASPC certification, and that's they're not free. Of course, you have to pay. You have to do a certain thing to get them. Like, I'm about to be eligible to get the ASPC MB, which is in molecular biology. Because I'll be working in the clinical lab for a year next month. And that way I can take the test and maybe get my certification, but it's not that easy. It's a test you have to really study for. It's like studying for the GRE or the MCAT. So that wasn't an option for me in May 2020. That just wasn't an option. And so I moved back home. I don't have a purpose. I'm living with my mom. And she was like, if you're living at home, you gotta find a job. Some kind of job. It doesn't matter where. It doesn't matter. You just have to have a job because I want you to pay rent. And I know people have different opinions about children. Or like, because I wasn't a child. I was 18 years old. No, I wasn't 18 years old. I was 22 years old. God. I was 22 years old living with my mom. I was an adult, you know. And so I felt like it was fair to pay her to live there because she's a single parent. She's a teacher. She doesn't get paid that much in the first place. So I want to help. I want to pay my phone bill and I want to pay rent. So I pay her $300 a month plus $50 for my phone bill. How did I do that, you might ask? I got a job in a plant. It was about 30 minutes from where I lived, and it was a manufacturing plant. We manufactured water heaters. Yes, I worked for A.O. Smith, but I was not employed under A.O. Smith. I was employed at a temp agency and was eligible to work there, making about $10 an hour, working full time for the first time ever. And while I may have like resented the job near the end, the people I worked with, that ended up becoming what was most important to me, the people that I worked with. But it was a factory, you know. I had to wear, for the first 90 days of working there, I had to wear a vest that let people know that I was, you know, just starting out. I had to wear it, or else I would get written up. You had to wear goggles, and you had to wear ear protection in there because, number one, it's loud as fuck in there. A lot of heavy machinery. Welding was going on, not 10 feet away from you. The line itself was just loud. It was a mess. So my first day, or like right before my first day, I was sent to go buy steel toe shoes. You have to wear steel toe shoes. It doesn't have to be boots. I ended up getting a really good pair of steel toe shoes for like $100 somewhere. But I know that's expensive, but they were worth it in the end. So I worked at this plant for 6 months, and um, it was after 90 days you were able to sign up for a full-time position. I was working full-time, but I was able to sign up to work at A.O. Smith as one of their permanent employees. And by sign up, that's literally what I mean. There's pieces of paper on a bulletin board. You sign your name under the job you want, and you may or may not get it. It's like a lottery. To me, it wasn't really fair because I was one of the hardest workers there, and that's what I was told by the line manager and the team leader. I was one of the ones who showed up way ahead of time, most of the time. There was a couple of exceptions to that. One being I was sick, and another time something had gone on at home. But I showed up way ahead of time, was able to get my shit straight before the line turned on, before manufacturing began. I knew what I needed to do, and I did it. And I was one of the best employees that they had. They were really sad to lose me. But I was ready to leave because I didn't belong there. And they told me that too, that I didn't belong there. I was a college girl. I had a biology degree and a German studies degree. I didn't belong in a plant. I said, well, why don't I be in the engineering department? They're like, well, do you have an engineering degree? No, I have a biology degree. And no, you won't. No, you won't. No. So I said, okay. Well, I know where I'm headed, and that's right out the door of this place. And like I said, I worked there for 6 months. I got used to being there. I kept applying for jobs online. Had a few interviews. They didn't go anywhere until around late November of last year. I got a call from another temp agency down in Charleston. They said, hey, this company is moving down to Charleston, and they're looking for an employee with this sort of expertise. Basically, pipetting experience with PCR and things like that. I'm not going to explain what all this is. If you want to know what a PCR is, Google it. It'll explain everything in great detail for you. And I said, I did that in college, like at my college labs themselves, and I did cell culture as part of my research because I did cancer research while I was in college. And that's what I kind of wanted to do as a job, was research, but it's really hard to get a job in research and be paid well. That's another thing. I needed to be paid enough to live in a place like Charleston, South Carolina. And this job does pay enough. And they were like, okay, you'll start out hourly, you'll fill out a timesheet, and I was like, wait, hold up. Are you saying that I already have this job? And they didn't really tell me that at first, but they were talking like that I already had the job because I had all of the lab skills that they wanted. And they said, okay, here's when you'll start training, and then here's when you start in Charleston. Let's go. And I was like, holy shit. I actually have a job in my field, you know? I actually have a job in a laboratory. I wanted to be in a laboratory for so long, and then I finally get this job, and it's too good to be true. But it's not. It's exactly what I needed. It's exactly what I wanted. So, right during the end of 2020, there was a surge in tests. Now, as 2020 went on, it started out high infection rate, and it sort of lulled whenever lockdown started, and then it spiked again during the holidays because people wanted to travel. And so what ended up happening was that they needed extra personnel at this place of work, at this certain company, because they were going to get about 20,000 extra samples per day. Now, let's divide that number by 100, and then what number do you get? 200. 200 batches of samples. And by day, I mean per month. An extra 200 batches a month because there was a surge. And you remember when Delta surge happened? It was pretty much the same thing, just in 2021. So they needed extra hands on deck to be able to test, and then they were about to test in Charleston. At the start testing in Charleston, getting samples from MUSC as well as other facilities, such as the SNF facilities. So it was go time. I was one of the first people to train in December, beginning half of December, because for Christmas, me and my mom went to Tennessee, and then I had to go right back for another 2 weeks of training, which turned into about 2 months. Because of the surge, and it kept going up. Batch numbers of samples kept rising, kept going up. And they needed people to stay, so they paid for us to stay in hotels, and they paid for our food and everything like that. It was great. But it was hard. It was hard work. Because we had 2 shifts, morning and evening. I think the first shift started at 9 and went to 5, and the second shift started at 3 and went to whenever. And I was second shift. And I would come in at 3 o'clock, and we would usually stay past midnight, trying to do all the tests that we could, so that the morning wasn't so swamped. And it was like half trainees, half vetted lab techs. So it was hard. It was hard for everybody. We had to worry about training. We had to worry about getting accurate results. We had to worry about maintaining efficiency. We had to worry about reporting. We had to worry about pulling repeats if there were anything. We had to learn a whole LIMS, which is an information management system, laboratory information management system. And it was hard to do. It was hard to learn because I had never, even in school, things weren't like that. In school, like college, didn't really prepare me for how a clinical lab operated. You're certified, and you have to maintain accuracy and efficiency, or else your license can be taken away. But we were reassured that we're fine. There was one very important thing that I learned when I first started, is that mistakes happen. Everybody makes mistakes. The only thing is, it's important to own up to your mistakes. Tell people you made a mistake, and it'll be okay. Unless it's something catastrophic, but if you make a mistake, if you, say, do a tip touch from one sample to the next, and you think you might have contaminated it, write it down somewhere on your plate map. Don't just let it sit. Just tell somebody that you made a mistake. Of course, there are people who didn't do that, and that's that's a later problem. So after I trained and moved down to Charleston, about the same amount of volume continued, with about 2,000 samples a day. That's about 20 batches a day. And so the numbers went up where I trained at. The numbers went up in Charleston, and they remained high for a good while until there was a lull. As with every lab experiences a lull in sample volume. Like every lab, not just clinical labs, even research labs, even labs that test soil samples or water samples or cells or whatever it may be, they all experience lulls every now and then. You might be sitting there thinking, like, thank God we don't have as many samples as we did just a month prior. But then you start thinking, lower sample volume means less money for the company. And our CEO, which we've met, because we're a relatively small company, he made the decision to let 2 of our employees go. Now, these employees were lab techs. We also had problems with them unrelated to company spending and things like that. But we had to let them go because they were bad employees. They were liars. They were narcissistic. They made team morale just tank. And it is what it is. After we let them go, things were fine, and sample volume rose again. And that was Delta. And so after that, and then of course Delta happened, sample volume went up to where it was whenever we first started, and now it's on a lull again. It's maintaining, not like nothing every day, but it's certainly lower. We went from like maybe 20 batches from senior nursing facilities to 6. That's what we had today. It was 6.5 plus a few from Department of Corrections. So all in all, we maybe had about 10 batches today. That's about 1,000 samples, which is not bad. It's doable, even with 2 employees that one got fired, one quitted. One got fired because he was what we say that he was a sociopath, because he liked to trigger a lot of the women talking about their weight, and he liked to get revenge on his ex-girlfriends, things like that. I didn't think he was a good guy. Just being real. But we fired him. And the other girl quit because of him, which is unfortunate, but whatever. It's not that big of a deal. They can do what they want to do. But today we started work at 9 o'clock, and every Tuesday we have our lab meetings, and that's when we talk about like things we need to order, as well as key indicators for COVID-19. Key indicators being like how many people are vaccinated, what's the infection rate, what's the test rate, what's the hospital rate, blah 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 blah. And we're experiencing a little bit of uptake, and we imagine that there's probably going to be another surge after the holidays, but that's just straight conjecture. But as we go on, we want to prepare for a CAP certification, which will give our lab a greater rapport. And we take care of that kind of stuff while we have a lull in sample volume. And if you're joining me, I'm not paying attention to this game. I'm just merely talking about what I do for a living and the realities of being in the clinical lab. So, being in a clinical lab means that you have to meet certain specifications every so often in order to maintain your certifications. You have to be audited. And we just had our CLIA audit. Again, I'm not going to explain what it is. Just Google it. And we passed. No strikes against us whatsoever. We were perfect. We were perfect in CLIA's eyes. CAP is a totally different thing. CAP is College of American Pathologists, and their rules are a lot more strict than CLIA's. But because we have our CLIA certification, we're on the right track for CAP. So, what does it mean? What will we do in the future then? Because COVID-19 is most likely going to become endemic, which means it's going to become like the flu. It's going to become part of our every year dealings. And I don't know if the vaccine will remain like permanent in somebody. I'm not thinking so because of its rapid mutation rate. But it'll probably be like every year you have to get another one because like the flu, it has a lot of different variants. There's at least 2 that I know of COVID, Mu and Delta, and there's probably going to be more. Just like with the flu, there's I think hundreds of variants of influenza, but the CDC predicts. What the fuck is that? Sorry, the game just caught my eye. Oh, it's a cat. The CDC predicts which strain of influenza is going to be prevalent in the given year, and that's how they know which vaccine to distribute. And that's probably what it's going to be like for COVID-19. I know COVID-19 is most likely going to become endemic like the flu. And that's just going to be our reality. It'll probably never be, what's the word? Not extinct, but eradicated. That's the word. It'll probably never become eradicated entirely. So, I am COVID vaccinated, and the entire country, I believe, is about 80%, and that's 12 and up, at least one shot, 80%, from what I saw from key indicators this morning, and that's good, but people are saying that their vaccines aren't working because of the variant. Whenever the vaccine was first created, it was created with the base strain of COVID-19. And so, people are catching the Delta variant, and it's getting through their vaccine. I am lucky enough, knock on wood, that I have not had COVID-19. I do wear a mask. At work. I don't wear one when I go out in public anymore because I am fully vaccinated, plus I have had a booster shot. I've had the Moderna vaccine plus the booster shot, and I can assure you, nobody made me do it. It was my own personal choice. I don't want to get sick and miss work because I need to miss like 2 weeks of work in December because I'm going to Florida. And I can afford to get sick. I'm not going to the fucking doctor. I don't want to get anybody else sick. So I did myself and the public a favor by getting the vaccine. My choice. You don't have to if you don't want to. But anyway, people are probably going to say maybe in the comments, because I'm going to post this video on YouTube. I don't know if anybody will watch it or whatever, but people might, post in the comments like, sources or whatever. So if you look up South Carolina DHEC COVID-19 key indicators, that'll show you some things about the state that I live in. And it'll show you some of the numbers that I'm talking about. Such as like vaccination rate and rate of spread. So honestly, COVID is what gave me my job. Just being honest, COVID-19 gave me my job. It gave me an opportunity. I got a job studying COVID-19, testing for COVID-19, and that allows me to also get trained. If I want to work in a different clinical lab, I'll have experience. Also, after I don't know if we'll ever stop testing for COVID-19, maybe. We also have a capability to test both flu and COVID at the same time, which that might become a more prevalent thing for us later, after surges and stuff, once we are sure that we can stop COVID-19 as our main source of income and start genetic testing. And genetic testing is PGX. In our case, it's going to be PGX. Again, if you want to know what PGX is, I highly recommend looking it up on Google because, shit, nobody saw that. I'm right where I need to be. If you want to know what PGX is, Google it. It's a very complicated process that I won't get into, but that's another part of the job. I am competent in PGX testing, and that means that I am able to perform tests on clinical samples, which means patient samples. So, the company I work for is relatively small. It is in 2 different locations, but compared to the other companies I've worked for, it is relatively small, and we're like a family. It might sound cliche, but the people we work with we're really close to the people we work with in the locations, and I see this company really going places because not only is the company has many different sides, and it's not just clinical testing. It's also developing programs. It's developing by programs I mean like interfaces for doctors to use in order to see patients' results. So we're working on developing that, and uh, with our IT department, that's our own code, and we can sell that and make money off of that. And it's 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 a whole thing. You have to you have to worry about taking care of your employees, and you have to worry about taking care of your company. And they are not shy. Like my manager and my CEO are not um, adverse to talking about money, like our company's money situation. And it's important for your employees to know like where the company is standing, and in any company you work for. So before I worked at the plant, I was a tutor at my college, but before that, I worked at a grocery store, and it became apparent to me in 2020. That was when 2020. I mean, no, it was 2019, the year before. I quit my cashier job in December 2019 because number one, I hated it. I felt like the people there were bullying me, and they didn't like me, and I didn't like them. So I said, "Fuck you guys, I'm out of here." Um, and they gave me. I had sort of an inkling that the company was going bankrupt because they had to close. They had to close some stores down. One of which was the first store that I ever worked at. Ooh, this is too big. Why is it so big? Um, yeah, the first grocery store I ever worked at closed, and oh my god. Um, and then the one I worked at around where I went to college at also closed, and I worked at a different one there, and then I believe it's closed down now because I worked for Philo. Southeastern Grocers went bankrupt and had to close a lot of stores, and I didn't feel bad. I didn't feel bad for them at all because the environment working in any store, in any of those stores, was just terrible. And they didn't tell employees, even though I've worked there for 5 years, I didn't get a severance package because I didn't work enough hours per week. But that wasn't my fault. I was a college student. Before that, I was a high school student. But whatever. Whatever. I don't know what's going on in this game, by the way. Too busy running my mouth. Oh, poor thing. This one didn't make it. What is that? Did they not want you up there? You're like me. I'm gonna stop yammering about my job and talk about my dog. She's not really my dog. She's my mom's dog, but I love her. She's like a baby to me. I have a I love her like one would love a person. She means the world to me. She's a small Pomeranian. Her name is Pepper. and I she's 5 years old, and if anything happened to her, I don't know what I would do. So, yeah. So apparently there was a dying dog in the alley, and now many months later, now there's a monster. Where's the dog? Bork. Bork. Where's the dog? Oh. What the fuck is happening? Oh, shit. Oh shit, I'm like playing Pong with myself. Oh god. Ah, shit. I have to avoid the bones. Oh my god, this is hard. I'm multitasking like crazy. Fuck. I am not going to win this. Hit it. Yes. Ah, shit. The power of man and his best friend. Doggy. You don't understand how much a dog can change a person's life. You don't know how much that dog can change you. Like, just for real. So, whenever my mom first got this dog, I don't know what I was thinking, but I kind of resented her because I know she's a dog, she's a puppy. I know how that must sound, but my mom wanted to fill the nest, um, so she got a dog, and I was jealous because my mom like loved that dog, and she was trying to make up for me going away to college. But then I grew to like I love that dog. Words cannot express how much I love that dog. I love that dog so much. But anyway, I'm not going to stream for too much longer. I just want to see this game look good. Just 8-bit and okay, it's gonna be like that again. But anyway, this game lasts for 5 minutes, so this is gonna be quick, and then I'll end the stream. If you're watching, say hi. Um, do you have a dog? Love dogs. Oh, what the fuck is happening? Another day in the office. Okay. Need to get the job done. I know that. At least make it look like it. I know that too. The higher up I get in the organization, the lower I feel. Yep. I need to behave. People are looking. I don't even know what's in the suitcase anymore. I can't remember the last time I opened it. Why am I bringing this weight with me? Probably I could leave some of it behind. Home. Aw, kids. Alone. with the wife and kids but still alone. At least the burden of other people's expectations is gone. Here I can be myself. Let myself loose. So why do I feel so stiff? Maybe I should get a vacation alone. Oh God, I knew. Well, there's no dick, so I guess it's okay. Jesus Christ. This is nice. I feel lighter. Am I naked? I don't care though. I care. This is against TOS. Well, I mean, you're a male and there's no penis, so I guess it's okay. I've never felt so free. I can get used to it. I got used to it. The excitement has faded into boring monotony. I need to dig deeper. I took off my skin. Yeah, I be running too. The masks are gone. I am no longer one of them. I am no longer one of you. They are judging me. I don't care. You are judging me. I don't care. You can't get under my skin anymore. Yeah, we don't have it. I am almost free. Oh, I am skeleton. I happy. Skeleton is happy. Bones make nice noises. Noises is good to my ears. Skeleton have no ears. Freedom is free. Freedom is cold. Freedom is skeleton. Skeleton is freedom. What has happened to me? What the fuck? Am I just a spirit now? I am. Finally. Me. Real. Free. Happy. Happy? Maybe. The end. Oh no, 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 no. There's no one naked now. Okay. In less than 3 days. That was honestly really good. Just when you question life and you want to you want to get things down to their simplest, but you can never be happy, no matter what. That's pretty profound. But anyway, we've reached that time again where I must say goodbye. And thank you for joining me if you watched. Make sure you give me a follow. I will post this video on YouTube just to see what happens. But thank you. My name is Sadie, and yeah, skeleton is freedom, as we have learned. That is the moral of the story. Skeleton is freedom. Bye.